Today I'm on the Cotswold Way in South Gloucestershire, a very well-known, very popular walking route from down that way. That's south towards Bath, and then you've got going north, almost up towards Birmingham, I think. But I'm contemplating a view, maybe something like that. This stack of straw here, hay, with the light top just catching the light against that darker background, and then that fence post, the gate post on the left, darker background. Just over to my right, there's some lovely views down that way, looking west towards, well, almost Wales and the Malvern Hills. Maybe another day. So for today, let's have a crack at this one. So I'm using, for this demo, using Saunders Woodford cold press paper, 300 grams. I'll cover my painting colours as I go through the demo. But first step, get in the outline drawing. So what attracted me to the scene was the clump of straw, the clump of hay, just catching the light, and the little bits of straw just going that direction and lit up against the darker background. So that's the clump of straw. Shadows coming out from that. The sun's coming from the left, and we've got the back of the field, the shadow at the back of the field, somewhere like that, and then this gate. Gate post there, and then background trees, like that. On the right hand side we have it framed with a little bit of the fence that's just, should I have it dangling down? Angling down, or more horizontal? Oh, let's go that way. Yeah, happy with that. Okay. Start painting. So sky first. We're going to cover the whole painting with an initial wash. and just a little hint of some light sky. Just cover where the background trees are going to be, and then progress into some grass. Morning. The jogger just going past. You can run this route as well as walk it. So onto the straw. And then continue down into the foreground. Just mop up that bead there. First wash done. Right, the plan now is to start with the background and work my way forwards with a smaller brush. The paints I'm using are handmade watercolour paints from Jackman's Art Materials in the UK. And I've got neutral tint, burnt umber, burnt sienna, yellow ochre, spring green, viridian green, cobalt green, cerulean blue, cobalt blue, ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, cadmium red, light red, cadmium orange, cadmium yellow. So trees in the background. Not too dark. And the paper's still damp there, so I'm going to get a soft edge for those. Maybe the paper's just a little bit too damp at the moment, so I need to either wait or go in thicker with the paint. As I come down to the base of those background trees, I want to go a bit darker with the shadow. Shadow at the base of those trees. I could use a little bit of neutral tint to go really dark, but that might be a bit too intense that far back. So I think that background's done. Might put in a few little wispy tree trunks that I can see over there. But that's enough detail for now. Now coming closer to me, the trees in the centre here, and I need to do a little bit of negative painting around the gatepost and the little tufts of straw and hay just coming out from the top of the haystack. This needs to be drier here because I want harder edges in there. Side of the brush. And with the rough paper we get a little bit of the sky showing through. Now as I come down, I want to get a little bit darker. And a little bit more dense, so there's less of the sky showing through. and a lot darker. I think there must be some shooting going on somewhere. Go back up to into the top there, just with a little bit of the darker colour. Right, this is an important bit here. This negative painting around the little bits of straw coming out from the top of that haystack, and then a bit of a dark green now for the base of those trees. And the shadow going across the field, which is going to be a dark green. Dark green, so that spring green, little bit of neutral tint. There we go, happy with that. Now, what's next? Let's paint back over on the left-hand side, and the painting around this gate here, so that the base of those trees are going up behind the haystack, and then up here. Something like that. Right. Haystack, which has got that light top, a darker side. There's two levels to it. bit of cadmium orange, bit of yellow ochre, and getting the light top. There's a bit of a light top there as well on that second, on that first layer, second layer. All right, now the shady side of this haystack. Burnt sienna, ultramarine blue, and the right hand side of that gate post. That's actually still quite damp. Just goes to show that it's quite a humid day, which is good. Gives you a bit more time to work on the watercolour. I'm just spotting a few little dead sort of dot leaves. Up on the right hand side here, just a little bit of warmth with that. Right, back to the haystack. And then get in this darker bottom layer. Now we've got shadow coming out from the haystack, and it's going across some bumpy ground. A little bit lighter, softer edges. Softer edges on the right hand side. Bottom left corner, there's bits of some nettles and weeds and grass growing down there. Not sure how to handle that at the moment. Just picking up on little darker patches of this clump of hay, just where I see little darker patches. This is all still quite damp, so give me a nice soft edge. And now darker green to the left of the post. So there's a rail there, and then another rail there. Have I got the perspective right? So top one, next one down. I think I can be fairly abstract in that bottom left corner. All those weeds and nettles and grass. Connect with the shadows. I'll come back to that in a minute. Right. Fence or gate on the right hand side. Different brush, I think. Let's go for a size 8 synthetic round. And then the rails from that, they're sort of going up at an angle. And then round the base we've got darker shadows. It's too blue. Darker shadows and weeds. Okay, it's taking shape. Bit of texture for the grass in the field, just to emphasize that slope, and just little tufts of grass. Not too much. Right, this gate post needs to be a little bit there until everything else is dried. So I need to play a little bit of a waiting game now. Right, is this dry yet? Almost. I think I'll crack on. Just got to be very careful as I lay down a bit of a darker colour. For the gate. little bit dark as I come down to the bottom and then almost lose it in the undergrowth. There are some cross members going across this gate. So let's just depict that with something like that and a line up there, just to hopefully give more an impression of that gate. And then we've got a little bit more of some shadow down the bottom. Right, lighter bits of the straw, bit of yellow ochre, bit of white gouache, little bits of straw. Morning.
Hi. Do you want us to stay for a bit, or?
No, you keep. I'm filming.
Beautiful.
Oh, you're filming?
Yeah.
Did I get in the way there?
No, you're quite all right. Don't worry. I'll include you in the painting if you don't walk too fast.
Whatever you do, don't include a cyclist.
No.
Well done.
Cheers. That was a knackered cyclist passing. Right, I'm nearly done. I think I just add a few minor highlights. Just needs to be a tiny bit darker on this left side here. Give it a bit more context of the, there's a big tree to my left and a little bit of shadow underneath that. Can't stop putting in just a few more little strands of straw. There we go, that's enough. If I overdo the straw down there, it'll just make it too crowded, too fussy. Just a little bit, if I can, just a little bit of extra. Just a bit of extra texture to the field here. And then we're done. back in the studio now, and as I normally do, just a little review of the painting. First of all, the source of my painting, the Cotswold Way, or part of the Cotswold Way in South Gloucestershire, and mid-morning, a sunny summer's day, and what attracted me to the scene was that little bit of light on the top of that haystack here, darker background, open gateway, bands of light and dark, so a nice blue sky, and then coming closer to us, those darker bands and the light of the top of the haystack, bit of shadow in there, trying to get the texture of the straw as well. The gate on the left-hand side, thinking about the perspective, trying to keep it fairly loose, and that quirky little right-hand side with the fence going upwards. Still not convinced if I got the angles right. And then the foreground, sort of a bit of a muddy entrance to the field and weeds and nettles down that bottom left-hand corner. My end painting, relatively pleased with it from a composition point of view, with the framing on the left-hand side and the right-hand side, the gate on the left and the fence on the right. Position of the haystack, yes, that's sort of right. I think I could have got a bit more light on the top of the haystack. I might have gone a little bit too dark just there. I could have had a lighter band, even though it wasn't, I couldn't see it from where I was. I was a little bit lower looking, almost uphill, so I couldn't see an awful lot of the top, but could have gone a bit lighter there for a little bit more impact. The rest of it, quite happy with. Maybe not convinced with the perspective on my gate on the left-hand side. I think the lower rails could be maybe a little bit more horizontal, but it suffices as the impression of a gate there, or some sort of structure on the left-hand side. Well, I hope you like that. I'll be doing plenty more plein air videos. Please subscribe. That will help me tremendously. And we'll catch up with you on the next video. Bye-bye.